I was watching a news report earlier this morning and it talked about the concerns of baby boomers. And so one of the things that I looked at was, well, what are their economic concerns and where do they stand when it comes to what their existence is going to be like and how do they navigate the future, considering many are already retired or are projecting to retire very soon. And so what I decided to do was to do this episode in how baby boomers can overcome their financial fears. And what has to be taken into consideration is exactly where do they see themselves landing here in the future. So let me put up my handy dandy one slide and excuse me. Again, my name is Paul Lawrence Van, and what I want to share with you is how to assist baby boomers in taking away their financial fears. And it's very important, it's very real because we know that hyperinflation has really made a stamp on everyone's purse or pocketbook and their wallets. And as a result, it's definitely something of concern. And I want to just share this with you today here on episode 284 of Wealth Academy podcast. So, baby boomers enter and navigate their retirement years right now, and they're facing several financial and emotional fears that can significantly impact their quality of life, like it does for everyone. And this generation, of course, was born between the years of 1946 and 1964. And they are experiencing a unique set of challenges from longevity and healthcare costs to insufficient retirement savings and economic uncertainty. And as a result, I'm going to provide an analysis of their concerns to help them to better understand it as they move forward to navigate this economic concerns and fears that they have. One fear that they happen to have is the fear of outliving their savings. In other words, the lifespan of people has increased over time, but their pay may very well not have. And so, one of the most significant fears baby boomers face is the possibility of outliving their retirement savings because many just simply didn't save. And there were big events that took place, the Great Recession that we recently had in 2007 through 2010. That we know COVID. And so there are a number of things that have impacted the baby boomers. And one of the things to consider is that the retirement funds needed to last 20 to 30 years or more, a lot of that has really, in some cases, been wiped away. And scams that are taking place, Social Security being impacted recently, and then you have organizations that retain people personal data. So there have been a lot of attacks and a lot of people have lost everything in some cases. And of course, the economy, some people, '07, '08, lost their homes, they lost their jobs, and some people lost their mind. And this is a real thing. And so here's an example of a situation. Let's say a 67-year-old retiree plan to live off their retirement savings and Social Security, but it now worried about the adequacy of their funds. With increasing life living costs, they're unsure if their saving will last another 20 years, especially if they need long-term care. And so healthcare, the price of healthcare has increased and the amount being covered continues to decline. And then there's, of course, the political concerns about Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, that those things really, in many ways, everything is on the table as far as being cut or reduced. And so as a result of that, uh, everyone has to really be concerned. And here is my one slide that I provide all the time. Again, it's baby boomer financial concerns and how to navigate the economic fears. And people are really justified in terms of being concerned. So, what is the impact of a 67-year-old being able to sustain themselves for another 20 years based on their retirement pay if they have it on Social Security, disability payments, whatever it happens to be? The fear can lead to anxiety about spending money even on necessary items, and can force retirees to significantly cut back on their quality of life. And quality of life means canceling medical appointments or not purchasing the food one needs to eat, good quality food, and cutting back on vacations, things that will help relieve some stress in one's life. And then, of course, I mentioned before about raising the rising health costs. And it is one of the most unpredictable and expensive aspects of aging as we know it. And baby boomers grow older, they're more likely to face chronic health conditions that require ongoing medical care. And even with Medicare, many are concerned about high out of pocket expenses, prescription costs, and potential need for long term care, which Medicare doesn't fully cover. And so, an example that I'll provide, and I'll provide a few as we go along, is that a retired couple in their early 70s spends a large portion of their fixed income on prescription medications for high blood pressure, for diabetes, for high cholesterol, and other ailments, that chronic ailments that may be out there. The doctor visits, insurance premiums, and they are anxious about how they would pay for a major health crisis such as a hospital stay or needing long-term care. So the impact is the rising cost of healthcare forces many retirees to dip into their savings more quickly than planned, adding stress and uncertainty for their financial situation. And then we want to look at the takeaways. The unpredictability of healthcare expenses can destabilize even the most well prepared retirees, leaving them fearful of medical bills wiping out their savings. And then we also, as I mentioned before, look at inflation. And then hyperinflation is what a lot of people are facing nowadays. And inflation is a concern for baby boomers who live on a fixed income, such as pensions or Social Security. And over time, the cost of living, housing, utilities, food, and healthcare can rise faster than their income, reducing their purchasing power and standard of living. And I'm going to take down the slide now so that you can see me as I share more about this and the impact on baby boomers. And as a result, let's say if you have a situation with a 72-year-old widow, they notice that their monthly grocery and utility bills have nearly doubled over the last 10 years, despite receiving Social Security, the annual cost of living adjustments, or COLA. It hasn't kept pace with actual inflation and forced them to dip into their savings to recover daily expenses. And so the impact is that retirees may face a difficult choice of cutting back on essentials or drawing down the retirement funds faster than planned, increasing the risk of outliving their savings. And so the takeaway is the fact that inflation erodes the value of fixed income, creating a fear that one who once had a comfortable retirement fund may no longer be enough to cover basic expenses. And so the thing to take into consideration is that a lot of people have not planned for this. The economy has really not been very favorable for baby boomers, and that has a impact on everyone. And then there's uncertainty around Social Security and Medicare, and many baby boomers rely heavily on Social Security because they've invested their whole lives, and it's not a government giveaway. It's actually what people have invested in over the course of their working life. And so when you have members of Congress or the current or the administration stating that the executive branch stating that they're going to cut something is not theirs to cut. And so therein lies the problem, but there still lies that uncertainty. And so ongoing political discussions about potential changes to the program, such as reductions in benefits or increased eligibility ages, creates uncertainty. And then we look at the takeaways that the potential for changes to Social Security and Medicare is a major concern for retirees as the programs form the backbone of their financial and healthcare plans. And then there's been unprepared for long-term care costs. Of course, no one can predict what their health is going to be in the future, but the policies and programs do exist for people to have them. So long-term care, whether in a nursing home, assisted living facility, or in a home care, is one of the most significant potential expenses facing baby boomers, and many do not have insurance for the services, and the cost can be overwhelming. And then the takeaway for baby boomers to understand is that the fear of needing long-term care without sufficient resources to cover the cost is a pervasive concern for baby boomers, many of whom may not even plan for this possibility. And so the other issue is the uncertainty that's surrounding Social Security and what's taking place in Medicare. So a significant look at the fact that many people assuming that it will be there, it may not be there. That's more or less what I'm getting at. And then, as I mentioned before, the uncertainty around Social Security and Medicare. Many baby boomers rely on the Social Security, but reductions are being discussed. And then there's a lack of adequate retirement planning because for many baby boomers, there was no such thing as financial literacy. And so they're kind of caught on that crossroads, if you will, whereby they have never planned for this, and yet they're going to be impacted by it. And so, one of the things that people have to do now is wherever people are in terms of lack of planning, they can still, it's never too late to plan and maybe cut out some expenses and then put it to what's more important, which is the long term care. And then there's fear of being a burden to the family. Many baby boomers are becoming financial or physical burden to their children or family members, particularly if they require long-term care and they face significant medical expenses. So that's something that people also have to be concerned with. So let's say you have a situation, a person is 70 and they have retirement worries about the possibility of needing assisted living in the future, but they doesn't want to be a burden to their adult children with caregiving or financial responsibility. So they avoid the conversation altogether, but it still doesn't help them. And then the impact is that this fear can lead to isolation and prevent baby boomers from seeking the financial help or support they may need from family members. And the fear of burdening loved ones is common among baby boomers, often resulting in avoidance of important financial planning. So when we look at in the conclusion, the baby boomer generation faces unique financial fears as they enter or live through their retirement years, from outliving their savings and rising healthcare costs to the uncertainty surrounding Social Security and long-term care. The challenges require careful planning and adaptability. But by understanding the fears and addressing them through proactive financial strategies, baby boomers can alleviate some of the anxiety surrounding their retirement, improving their overall quality of life. And again, it's not easy. I want to put my slide back up so you can get a better understanding. So these are people born between the years of 1946 and 1968. They have financial concerns and they're trying to work to navigate economic fears. And it's something that everyone will have to be concerned with, not only the baby boomers, but the millennials, the X generation, Y generation, and Gen Z. And it's something, if you haven't started planning for it, now is the time to do so. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about now is that if you have questions for me, you can simply email me or get me on the YouTube channel. And that YouTube channel, I'm providing that here, www.youtube.com/the @ symbol Wealth Academy podcast /videos. And then you can go there. And if you want to schedule a free financial coaching session with me, you can do so at https slash colon tinyurl.com/446AD2YX. And I'll provide you with a free 15 to 20-minute free financial coaching session if you want to discuss even more. But this is episode 284, and I'm talking about ways to how baby boomers can overcome their financial fears. And it's a concern for everyone given the economy that we have. And again, get out there to Apple Podcasts, get to Spotify, provide a 5-star rating and positive comments. Would love to, as a host and producer of this podcast, would love to chat with you about this more and really ask that you would subscribe to my YouTube channel and get your family, friends, and colleagues to do the same. Again, my time is up. I thank you for yours. Again, the name is Paul Lawrence Van. Have a great day, everyone. And I know there is something that you can learn from this and recommend it to others. I appreciate you and thank you very much. Have a good day.